They called humans the fragile ones. No claws, no venom, no exoskeleton, just soft skin and slow reflexes. So when the Grand Coalition invited one human engineer to inspect their unbreakable weapon, the pride of 3,000 years of alien warfare, they expected him to nod, take notes, and leave quietly impressed. They did not expect him to pick up a screwdriver. And they definitely did not expect the weapon to stop working 40 seconds later. Ethan Cole was not a soldier. He wasn't a diplomat either. He was a maintenance engineer from a mid-sized shipyard on Earth's third orbital station, the kind of job nobody puts in a recruitment poster. But when the Zashari Assembly requested one representative from each member species to witness the unveiling of the Aegis cannon, humanity sent him. Not their best pilot, not their sharpest general, just the guy who happened to be free that week. The Aegis cannon was not just a weapon. It was a statement, built by the combined engineering guilds of 11 species, cooled by liquid nitrogen mined from a gas giant, powered by a fusion core the size of a small moon. It could crack a planetary shield in one shot. No species in known space had ever built anything close. The Coalition wanted every member race to see it, to understand exactly how far behind they were, humans included. The Unveiling Hall was carved from black stone, lit by soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Rows of alien delegates sat in tiered seating, the insectoid Krell with their clicking mandibles, the towering Voss draped in ceremonial armor, the silver-eyed Ashen who never blinked. And near the back, almost forgotten, sat Ethan in a slightly wrinkled jacket, sipping something that was definitely not the ceremonial drink everyone else had. The Coalition's chief engineer, a Voss named Thren, stood before the cannon like a priest before an altar. "Behold," Thren said, voice booming through the hall, 3,000 years of unified progress. The Aegis cannon has never failed, cannot be replicated, it cannot be countered. He turned to the crowd, eyes lingering just slightly on the human in the back row. "Perhaps," Thren added almost gently, "our newest members would like a closer look, so they understand what true engineering looks like." Laughter rippled through the hall. Not cruel, just the kind of laughter you give a child who's proud of a drawing. Ethan stood up. "Sure," he said. "I'd love a closer look." The delegates exchanged glances as Ethan walked down to the cannon's base, where the cooling manifold hummed beside the primary capacitor array. Thren allowed it. After all, what harm could a maintenance worker do to a weapon this advanced? Ethan crouched beside the machine. He didn't touch the trigger mechanism, didn't go near the fusion core. He looked instead at the coolant lines, the humble, unglamorous plumbing nobody in that room had bothered to admire. "You built the crown jewel of galactic weapons," Ethan said quietly, almost to himself, "and ran your coolant regulation through a single redundancy loop." Thren frowned. "The regulation system has been tested for against heat spikes over sustained fire." "Sure," Ethan interrupted, still crouched, running a finger along a joint seam. "Not against thermal shock from a sudden pressure differential." He pulled a small multi-tool from his jacket, the same kind he used to fix leaking valves on Earth's orbital station 3 times a week. "Which is exactly what happens," he continued, "when you bleed pressure from here." He tapped a secondary valve, one clearly labeled in old-world engineering shorthand that only a human blue-collar worker would recognize on sight, while the primary line's still under full load. "Do not touch," Thren started. Too late. Ethan turned the valve exactly 4 degrees. For a moment, nothing happened. The hall held its breath, delegates leaning forward, some smirking, expecting nothing but an embarrassing fizzle. Then the cannon shuddered. A low groan rippled through the coolant lines, metal contracting too fast, stressed by a pressure imbalance no engineer in the room had ever considered, because no engineer in the room had ever needed to consider it. Their systems were flawless by design. They'd never had to improvise a fix in the field with spare parts and stubbornness. Warning lights flared red across the capacitor array. The fusion core's containment field flickered once, twice, before an automated shutdown slammed the entire weapon into standby. Silence. Thren stared, mandible-plated jaw slack, at the very machine he'd called unbreakable. Ethan straightened up, wiped his hands on his jacket, and shrugged. "Yeah," he said. That's what I figured. You built something powerful, Ethan said, turning to face the stunned Hall. But you built it assuming it would never need repairing under pressure, because you never had to repair anything under pressure. Not really. He gestured at the now dormant cannon. Humans have been fixing broken things with duct tape and stubbornness since before we had electricity. We don't design for perfect conditions. We design for the day everything goes wrong at once, because for us that day always comes. Nobody laughed this time. Thren opened his mouth, then closed it again. The Aegis cannon was repaired within the week, with a redesigned redundancy system. Designed by humans. The Coalition never called Earth the Fragile Ones again. Because the truth was simpler than they'd ever imagined. It doesn't take the strongest species to break the galaxy's greatest weapon. It just takes the one species that spent its entire history learning how things break, and exactly where to look first.